Today on the Nerdy Gritty, Disney fires James Gunn for decade-old tweets.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Nerdy Gritty, where we delve deep into the details of pop culture. I'm Fox.
I'm Dez. So, Fox, I have another problem. I don't have another problem.
You have lots of problems.
I don't have another problem. It's the same problem.
And it still exists.
Slay the Spire is so
When I got to work
good.
today, you were watching it on YouTube. You can't get enough of it. It's a real problem. I'm glad you like the game, but just know that we love you and we're here for you. But these are the
Get him, hurry!
These are the ways in which your addiction has hurt me. It hasn't. I don't care. It's fine.
Yes. I'm just going to throw cards at you at some point.
You're going to walk in. You look like a spire. I need to slay you. What does that mean?
I have less of a problem, but I wanted to tell you about, we already talked about this a little bit, but I really wanted to tell you about the movie Vampire in Brooklyn.
Yeah, that's such a good title. And by good, I mean terrible.
It was a movie, and in fact, when did it come out? But it's a movie starring Eddie Murphy, of all people.
Okay, here's my guess. 1993. Based on Eddie Murphy and that title, it's a 1993 movie.
1995.
Dag, so close.
Very close, yeah. Okay, 27 Metascore, 4.5 user score out of 10. It's so good.
Ah, great.
Okay, I want to see when Interview with the Vampire came out. Interview with the Vampire.
That was later.
It was 94, the year before.
Dang
so
it, I'm
that makes
wrong
perfect
again.
sense to me. So this is clearly in response.
A watershed moment.
Yeah,
Watershed
clearly
movie.
in response to Interview with the Vampire coming out. But the term is blaxploitation movie of Interview with the Vampire, and it's about Eddie Murphy as an evil vampire coming to Brooklyn and wanting to find the only other vampire left in the world. But she's a half vampire, and her vampire side doesn't know that it exists yet.
Okay.
And so he needs to awaken her with sex.
Right, sure, that makes
sense. That's how you awaken her vampire. You don't bite her, you don't poke her.
You don't just say, hey, you're a vampire.
It's sex.
Right. Well, yeah, is that, are you doing like an Eddie Murphy impersonation right there? Or?
No, like, cause it's sexy.
Oh, okay.
Sex.
That's how you say that in a movie.
Yes, that's how you do it.
Okay.
And so, but this movie was so ridiculous. My favorite part of it was there were two comedy relief guys, and they were hilarious with the whole thing. Yeah, the comedy that they brought to it was great, but everything else was so dumb, and the acting was so bad, and it was just, ugh.
Speaking of dumb and movies, I saw Mamma Mia 2 on Saturday.
Yeah, but you like it.
No, I've already told you this. Mm-hmm. This is a dumb, stupid movie.
That's not what I said, though.
I like ABBA.
You answer the question, Fox. Did you like it?
I liked watching it because of ABBA.
Did you like the movie, Fox? Yes or no?
No.
You didn't?
No, I didn't like the movie, but I liked the experience of watching it because I love ABBA.
If I sang ABBA but punched you every 8 frames, would you be okay with it?
It really isn't that bad. It's a musical.
I like that you have to defend it against me punching you every eight measures.
Sure, no.
As if it could actually be a comparable thing. No, it's not that bad.
No, I mean
close.
There are movies where it feels kind of physically painful to watch them. Mamma Mia 2 is not one of them, and there are some genuine, fun musical moments when they do Super Trooper at the end is always fun. That's just a good song. But also Waterloo, probably my favorite. Waterloo, finally facing my Waterloo. No, okay. ABBA's a great band.
About 3 ABBA songs.
Well, anyway, that was a really good moment. But overall, the movie was just another Mamma Mia. I saw a tweet yesterday that was like, look, with enough fan petitioning, we can make Mamma Mia the Fast and Furious of the musical circuit.
Just keep them going.
Fate
Are there
of
enough
the Mamma
ABBA songs?
Mias. Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay.
They have a very large catalog. They probably would just use the same 12 every time, though. They used some on this one that were pretty deep cuts. I knew most of them. There were a couple I didn't know. But yeah, it was only worth watching. I'll put it this way: only worth watching if you like ABBA, or if you're a really love musicals. Because there were some really fun dance numbers, and some of them were stupid. They also made the right choice of not having Pierce Brosnan sing a whole lot.
Yeah.
In fact, he only has one solo, and it's literally 4 lines, and it's just more of an emotional moment rather than like a big, like... He's not really even singing. He's kind of just
Pierce threatened to have that, or he would walk off the set.
Maybe.
Fine.
Oh, and also, spoiler, to... Not for the story, but just at the very end... The most interesting man in the world, that guy from those commercials, he's in it.
The new one or the old one?
I don't know. One of them. He looked like him at least. I don't know if it was the same guy. That's who I thought it was. He shows up as
Gray
the brother
beard or black beard?
Gray.
Nice. He's the better one.
Yeah, he shows up as the brother of Fernando, who is the manager of the hotel.
Does he sing?
No.
Oh.
He's literally just to show up and is supposed to be like a love interest for another one of the characters, but it's just a throwaway line.
If that man doesn't have the angelic voice of like a 1930s crooner, I will be angry.
The best part about that guy is that he doesn't need to prove that he's the most interesting man in the world.
He just is.
He just is.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, he has to have that voice. Whether or not he can, whether or not he's going to sing with it, he has to have it.
No, it's about the potential. You know he does. You know it so much that you don't need to find out.
He once won a Grammy without singing a note.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, man.
Anyway.
So, on the note of movie disappointments as well.
Right, yeah.
There has been a new development in the world of Guardians of the Galaxy.
A really big deal, actually.
Yeah.
For a lot of reasons.
So, if you guys didn't know about this, the only Marvel movie that has had a repeat director are the Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
Doing some fact-checking right now. No, Ant-Man did also.
Oh, did it really?
Oh, wait, never mind. You're so wrong. The first 2 Avengers...
Wasn't it Joss Whedon
both
the first
Joss
one?
Whedon?
No, the second one was too?
Yeah.
That's right, because everybody hated him.
He said he was done with it. The brothers, whatever their names were, did both Captain America 2 and 3.
The Wachowski brothers?
Yes. No, they're the Wachowski siblings now.
Oh, right. Wachowski siblings.
But no, I forget their names, but get your facts right.
You're wrong.
You are fake news.
Then maybe it was... I heard something like this. Maybe it was the only one that was going to do 3.
That would be it.
Yeah. Okay, the only one that was going to do 3 movies was going to be James Gunn.
Yeah.
He was going to do all 3 Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
They were set to start production on the 3rd one this fall.
But at some point, James Gunn began to speak out some left-wing views pretty loudly. And because of that, there are a group of right-wing people, like far-right people.
Alt-right.
Alt-right.
Is the term that they prefer.
Yeah, alt-right people that will purposely go through people's like ancient Facebooks and Twitters and internet history to try and find things to contradict their new stuff with. Basically saying, oh, you're saying all of these things? What about this stuff that you said 13 years ago?
Right.
Or whatever else. And so James Gunn speaking out, and then they found decade-old tweets in which he jokes about pedophilia and rape.
Yes.
And because of this, Disney has fired James Gunn from the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 movie.
Which is a big deal.
Yes.
It happened, I think, a bigger deal. Not bigger, but a crazy part of it is that they announced it during Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah, for real.
Like, it's going to set the world on fire, and San Diego was on fire at that moment.
Yep. It could burn brighter than the sun.
Yeah. Fun is so
set the world on
2009.
fire.
Anyway, so yeah, he is no longer going to be making Guardians of the Galaxy, which is crazy because it's hard to imagine. He has this style to him as a director. His earlier movies are very out there in some ways, and just he has a style to him, kind of like and it comes through in Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah. It's a little less like exaggerated because it's Guardians of the Galaxy. It's Marvel. They didn't want him to, but so it's kind of for me hard to imagine like who's going to take over And is it going to be different? Are they just going to try to like emulate his style? That kind of thing. Like it just kind of opens up like what's going to happen in the next one. And so what we want to talk about today was Disney in the right? Should they have done something else? Was there a better way to respond?
How should situations like this be handled in the future?
In general, how should this happen?
What does this mean for the future of other organizations that are, have repeat directors or whatever else like this? So let's talk about this for a little while first, just directly going on here. How do you feel personally about exactly what happened? Disney, James Gunn, what do you think about it?
Oh, I completely understand.
Okay.
I completely understand what Disney's doing, or what Disney did. It makes sense to me. We are currently going through a time in our culture in which things like that have had greater consequences in the past.
Right.
Jokes like that and just kind of things you say are being taken more seriously. And I don't think that's a bad thing inherently. Like, if you want to create a certain standard of conduct, then you have to take things that break that standard seriously, even if they could be considered jokes. I understand that. Now, saying I understand it does not mean I think it was the best way to handle the situation.
Right.
Here specifically, these are it's a decade old. It's around about 2008 to 2011, a couple years worth overall. I have an article up here that shows pretty much all like the ones that they used as like, oh, look at this guy, and it's like, let's see, 15 tweets over a space of 3 years. This is what's on here. There might be more.
He's James Gunn. I'm sure he said a lot of colorful things of varying.
This is a CNET article, cnet.com. CNET.
Yeah.
But so, I think not that there's like a statute of limitations on this socially.
Right.
I think people should be held accountable no matter how long it's been. But it's also true that he has addressed these in the past.
Yes.
And has apologized for them and has like stated, I am a different person now. And so that is the point at which I feel like Disney's not making the right choice here.
Agreed.
If this was something he had tried to hide, as in like he deleted them, but they were found on some like, archive or somebody had taken pictures and these are a thing.
Right.
And then he comes out and he's like, yeah, that was me. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I can understand that. Like, that could be a little more, but he's addressed it himself. Like, at a certain point, the question has to be asked, and we'll get into this, but just, where is the place for forgiveness in this kind of realm? Is there any place at all, or is it just a no strikes, or one strike, you're out?
Right.
And so that's how I feel about it. I understand. I'm not like, I don't think Disney did a wrong thing. Well, maybe I do, but I don't think I understand their reasoning. I think they could have made a better choice. Maybe just a heavy reprimanding. Well, I don't know.
To me, here's kind of here's what I think happened and what I think should have happened.
Sure.
Especially from an organization like Disney. My guess is that all businesses like this, all production companies have a no tolerance policy.
Right.
And that's it. And they just, so if it comes through, done. Game over, you're fired.
Especially Disney, they have this image of like a wholesome, family-oriented company.
And just to say, no forgiveness, nothing at all, just, you're done. Sorry, game over. It sucks. Yeah, it does. We agree it sucks too, but that's our policy.
Right.
I don't like that. And I understand why it's a policy, but I think wiser policies could be made, even one because there's so much gray area in this, and it's tough for an organization to be able to judge from person to person who's going to get that gray area and who is not. But you can even outline a policy that says if there has been a time of, if you can see a time of change, and if at one point the person did, recognize their issues and reconcile them, then we can reevaluate the situation from there.
Sure.
And I think, first of all, a policy like that, and then second of all, an organization as big as Disney had a really cool opportunity here to portray forgiveness in a world right now where famous people, so many people are ready to hate famous people. Okay. You know what I mean? There's a lot of ways where we love people when we put them on a pedestal, and then when that pedestal gets knocked over, they're the worst people on the planet. They're garbage human beings.
And deserve to have their careers ruined.
Right.
And to never be
their lives ruined.
Yes.
And there are some times in which some people deserve heavy punishment.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But at the same time, if you pulled some stuff that I said 15 years ago,
yeah,
I bet there'd be a lot of garbage in there that today, as a 35-year-old man, would be like, dude, I was 20, I had no idea what I was talking about.
Yeah, that was a dumb thing to say. Like, it's easy even to, like, yeah, that was stupid.
Yeah. And so we have talked before, like with PewDiePie, our very first podcast ever, that there are things that would never escape my lips because that's just not something I would ever say.
Sure.
That's not something I would joke about or ever do. And I think that for saying some things, there is almost a no tolerance policy maybe, but
yeah,
even for saying rather than doing, like if you joke about things, you're an idiot, you're stupid, don't joke about it. But at the same time, isn't there room for forgiveness, especially a decade later when he's apologized for it? How cool would it have been if Disney's statement was, over the years and relationship we've had with James Gunn, we have seen him not reflect the man that posted those tweets in any way, shape, or form. He has openly admitted to these things. Mm-hmm. He's not hiding from it, but he's also worked to be a better man, and we see no way better to reward somebody working to become a better person than to continue giving them the work that we've given them.
Now, there has been a few tweets from like people on the Guardians of the Galaxy cast that are similar, kind of.
Right.
They're, Dave Bautista, who plays Drax, is the most vocal about it. Like, like he straight up was like, "Hey, I'm angry about this. Like, this really shouldn't be what's happening." I think like Dave Bautista kind of got his acting career started with Guardians, but and then others like Zoe Saldana, Chris Pratt, and Karen Gillan, all in some fashion or another have said something. Hey, I support. Some of them are vague. They're like, I support every member of my GOTG family. Mm-hmm. Chris Pratt just tweeted a Bible verse that said, "Be slow to anger and quick to listen," whatever that. I forget the actual wording.
Yeah, quick to listen, slow to anger. That verse.
Oh yeah, here, let every person be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger.
Yeah,
I mean, that it's assumed that that's what he's talking, that it's in reference to this, like, hey, let's listen to what he has to say.
Yeah, and let's not
which is a fair point.
So quickly.
Yeah, and so there are lots of people, both on the cast of that movie, who have daily interaction with this guy, who are like, hey, no, that's not who he is anymore. And also just from, I mean, I don't know how seriously you want to take this, but from the fans that just watch the movies, there are petitions. In fact, there is a petition that has gained 188,000 signatures saying that he should be rehired, like put back onto it.
Jeez.
Right. And generally, fan outrage, I would say, is one of the things that gets people fired, gets people. And so it's a little strange to me that this is happening, because clearly he has support from everybody that generally companies like this listen to when they're making these decisions.
Well, and what's really surprising to me is I haven't seen anybody that is supporting Disney's decision. I'm sure there are people out there, but I haven't read or seen anyone that's like, no, Disney made the right choice. James Gunn should not be doing this. You know, he needs to have, consequences for his actions or whatever.
Right. What a scumbag. No, I've seen several articles that are like, do we understand? Yeah. Do we agree? Nah.
Right.
Like, that's the closest you come.
Exactly. That's the best I've seen. The closest to support of this is we understand. Yeah. Selma Blair, who is Liz Sherman in the Hellboy movies, the pyrokineticist in the Hellboy movies, she was actually one of the women to speak up in the Me Too movement and say, yeah, I have been abused, sexually abused in my position. And she stood up outright and said, James Gunn was one of the people to encourage me to step up and speak out about this. Like, he is not that man he once was. He is a man to support people and to support equal rights and to support these things. Like, he's a good man. You shouldn't be doing this to him. And to me, especially with this type of support, it's got to be really, really difficult for anybody to see why Disney would do this.
So I want to bring up, just to play a little bit of a devil's advocate here, the fact that very recently, within a few months ago, Roseanne Barr, who had a show on ABC, NBC, Fox, one of those. Not Fox. Fox Read.
Fox would be fine.
No, Fox actually basically bought the rights to start a show that's exactly the same without Roseanne or something like that. Anyway,
it's Roseanne but without Roseanne. It's all the same characters.
Not Roseanne. Yeah, it's what it's called. No, so she tweeted a racist comment about a news anchor, I believe is who it was about, and she was fired for that pretty immediately because of that. Now, she didn't do anything physical to somebody. She didn't hurt anybody. She didn't she made a statement that said a racist thing about a person. So what's the difference here?
Two things I want to say to that. First of all, what I would say is the difference is the immediacy of this.
Okay.
It's a decade ago, and time doesn't heal all wounds, but it heals a lot of them. And particularly when you see the change. If you see James Gunn then and James Gunn now, you're like, that's not the same person. If you saw Roseanne in 1993, 1989, and Roseanne now, you'd say that's exactly the same person.
Yeah.
And that's kind of who Roseanne has always been. And so I think that whichever company was planning to bring this back out, I believe it was NBC, was looking to bring this back out, they can openly say, Roseanne, you haven't changed.
Yep.
We can see that right there. Yeah. And this is just going to happen again. You're going to grab your crotch and spit on a mound at a baseball field after the national anthem. You're going to say racist things on Twitter. You're going to be crude. And that's you. That's kind of what's made you adorable.
Sure. Well, that's kind of what's gotten her some popularity.
Right. But that's not something we can back anymore.
Right.
We can't let this stuff slide anymore.
Right. It's a different cultural era.
Right. And so, no, we're done. Whereas it's the exact opposite with James Gunn. You look back and you can see where it's just like, man, you have changed.
Yeah.
You are a different person. We can see that. This isn't him apologizing now for those things. Like you said before, if it had come up and he said, I'm very sorry for those tweets and some pre-written thing, whatever else, and Disney still severed ties, I'd understand that.
Sure.
But he apologized already a while back. He had, and I haven't seen it. I don't know if it was a direct apology, but I know that he has many times said things like, I have said a lot of things that I just don't believe anymore.
Yeah.
Or basically said, like, I'm a different person now. And he understands the consequences of his actions, regrets that he did them, and his response to this in particular shows just how different it is. He said, I 100% understand why Disney did this. I 100% and I'm not upset with the outcome of this. I'm disappointed. I'm not happy about it, but I'm not angry. I'm not that man anymore, though. It's not who I am, but I do know why Disney did this and I get it. And like with a response like that, I'm like, oh, this sucks. This sucks so much.
Right.
And it's not just because, of the punishment for him and the struggle for him, but also because Guardians of the Galaxy is a great franchise.
Sure.
It's that first one was one of my favorite Marvel movies.
It's one of the better Marvel movies.
Yeah,
or
it's
just the
really,
most fun,
really good. And to see it change because of something the director said 10 years ago that he doesn't agree with anymore, that he apologized for, that he doesn't agree with.
Right.
That's rough.
Yeah.
It really is. But let's play some more devil's advocate here.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and turn the tables for a moment here and talk, because I bet you there are a lot of people right now that are nodding their heads and agreeing with us. Why would Disney do this? Why should they, why is this the right choice for them? And what consequences could they see if they didn't do something like this? So let's defend Disney for a bit here, because both you and I said, yeah, but I understand.
Yeah.
It sucks and I hate it, but I understand. So why do you say you understand?
It's more of a cultural thing. I think they saw the times. They have seen what is going on, where there's very little tolerance, or most of the time no tolerance for anything of this nature, anything that people can find offensive. And so I think it was more of a let's cover our bases.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that there might have been somebody at Disney outraged, sure, but my theory is that the vast majority of the reasoning behind this was somebody might not like this. We can find another director and just kind of make them make it the same movie. Like, you can get another director. It's going to be a lot harder to come back from, or they just don't want their reputation tarnished at all.
Yeah.
And so I think it was probably more of a, let's just nip this in the bud.
Yeah.
Like, maybe even from a production standard, they have a pretty, I think, strong standard of quality for these Marvel movies. Mm-hmm. And want each one to be good rather than hit a certain tone or whatever. They want them all to be good, and what if they wanted to do it now rather than after 8 months of pressure, then do it, and you're already 6 months into production on a movie, and you have to change. I'm not saying that this is... Let me be clear when I'm not saying that this is anything... Zack Snyder he stopped, and that was for obviously a very good reason with his daughter. But the result was that they changed directors midway through the Justice League, and it's very obvious.
Yeah.
There is an obvious, and I don't know if it's a better or worse movie because of it, but it never helps a movie when there's two very different creative minds trying to create the same thing.
Two visions trying to be
that
smashed
are coming
into
in
one.
at different times. If you work together, sure, but different times. So they might have said, sure, people might find this offensive. Let's try to get out in front of that. But also, we want Guardians of the Galaxy 3 to be a high quality film, or at least a film with a singular vision. Mm-hmm. And so before all that takes place, before production even starts, let's get somebody else. Let's find...
Right.
There's a million directors out there, and you can always find somebody different.
Well, I mean, when you and I first heard about this, well, like, who could do it? Who could replace him?
Right.
And it hit me like, what about Lake Titicaca? What's his name? Taika
Waititi?
Yeah, Taika Waititi. Yeah.
Taika Waititi.
He was great in Ragnarok and had a very similar feel.
From their stable of movies they've already created or directors they have already used, that would probably be the closest.
Yeah.
With that like kind of irreverent humor, but also colorful and goofy and fun.
Yeah.
That'd probably be the best. I also think you could take Guardians a little like crazier, a little more like...
And Quentin Tarantino could direct it.
Honestly, his name came to my mind. Obviously, they're not going to let him just be Quentin Tarantino. They wouldn't get him. He wouldn't want to do it anyway. He's already in the middle of making another movie right now.
Is he really?
Yeah, it's about Manson. Charlie Manson.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Anyway, but yeah, I think Guardians of the Galaxy could be pushed. I think you could get a little darker with your humor in it. Now, I don't know if they would, but they could go that direction. I think it'd be cool. I think it could get closer to even like a Daredevil tone, where it's a little more violent.
Oh yeah,
I think that would be a kind of a fun thing to throw goofy Guardians of the Galaxy into a dark situation and have to deal with it.
Well, they're gonna have to deal with Gamora being dead.
Oh yeah. Well, actually,
spoiler alert.
Avengers. No, everybody knows. Avengers 4 is coming out before that. So
is it? No, never mind.
100%. Yeah, the next 2 movies are Captain Marvel and Avengers 4.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So then Guardians will be whenever. So she might not be. She could be one of those that are permanent. That's not what we're talking about right now.
No. To me, I think that this was a knee-jerk reaction. I think that this was because it happened so fast, and I'm sure there were conversations about it and whatnot, but at the end of the day, I'm sure they just said, like I said before, it was a no-tolerance policy.
Yep.
But one thing that we do have to recognize is how conniving people can be, particularly like agents can be. Okay. And so when you get something in a situation where you set precedent saying, you did this a long time ago, but you've apologized, you've changed, I guarantee you, just kind of like Disney does right now, where they have these wholesome kids when they grow up, but then an agent comes in. Once they hit adult, Disney lets them go, and an agent comes in and says, okay, now you need to get back on the map. You get back on the map by being crazy. Britney Spears, what's her name? Achy Breaky Tart. What's her name?
Taika Waititi?
Taika Waititi. No,
Miley Cyrus.
Miley Cyrus, yeah. And so...
These are the worst.
Billy Ray Cyrus's daughter. Achy Breaky
I get
Tart.
it.
She's Achy Breaky Tart. Anyway, Miley Cyrus, there's just like the situation when agents come in and said the way that you get back on the map. I can see an agent telling a young comedian, dude, you're 20 years old, for the next 4 years, you can go freaking nuts.
Okay.
Be as stupid and offensive as
So you're saying this is an agent talking to...
Yeah.
Yeah, he has said, James Gunn has said, when I was younger, I kind of saw myself as a provocateur. Somebody who tried to be a little outrageous and a little offensive. You can see that in his movies. If you ever watched Slither or Super.
Slither is ridiculous.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Super has a rape scene, but it's a female raping... and it's kind of played. It's very strange. It's a great movie, but it's not a scene that you can watch and be like, it's a weird mixture of kind of comedy but also horror at what's happening. It's weird, and you can definitely see both in his career, just kind of that change from this is what I was doing and this is now who I am, like just kind of the content of his movies.
So, but I could see like an agent telling a young comedian, go nuts for 3 years, gain popularity, let everybody think you're hilarious and crazy, then start to calm down, and then after 5 years, we're going to have you issue a public apology for who you used to be. And then from that point on, you're in the clear, man. From that point on, you have a clean slate to be able to work on whatever you want to do. And it sucks, but I know that would happen.
It's a possibility. I don't know if that would be it, because he wasn't really a talent. Like he wasn't.
Not him, not James Gunn. I'm not saying that he did that.
Okay.
I believe that this is all real. But if Disney forgave him, that would get precedent for future people to do exactly this. For people in the future to say, okay, since James Gunn got to be crazy and then was hired later, now I, a young comedian, can be crazy and offensive and stupid. Okay. Then I'll issue my apology in 5 years, and then I'll start to like legitimize myself again.
Sure. Okay, so you could see it. They were like, well, we don't. Let's play, let's just say maybe Disney actually does believe this moral, like, high ground rather than just being a money-making company. Then they were like, well, we don't want to set a precedent for others to be able to do this, so we need to just say nope.
Right.
That's what you're saying? Okay. I could see that. I don't know.
I don't think that's what, like I said in the first place, I think it was just a knee-jerk reaction. Yeah. But I also can see where it would be a wise choice. I could see a lot, like, so many people issuing their apology early, just like James Gunn did, and then if people bring up that old stuff, they can say, "Yeah, but I apologized. You forgave James Gunn. Why not me?"
Sure. Yeah, it's always a case by case kind of thing. There's never a one size fits all. I would say when this kind of stuff happens. I mean, obviously there are certain actions.
Sometimes I disagree with you on that.
Sure.
Though, but,
no. It's when it comes to like a career being ended because of possibly offensive things. Yeah. There's a scale. There's, like, actual sexual harassment, and there's jokes.
Yes.
Those are not the same. They're in the same realm.
Yeah.
And so, like, there have been people who tried to, like, well, it's the Me Too movement. What do you think? No, this isn't. This
is not that.
I can understand seeing that comparison. This is not the same. He has not actually, nobody has come forward saying he's done anything to them.
Right.
He made jokes 10 years ago, and then it has changed. Like... So that's been brought up as well. The biggest part for me, the hardest part for me is that who Disney is responding to. Mm-hmm. They are not responding to fan outrage.
Right.
They are responding to alt-right trolls.
Yes.
These people who have done this before. These are the people, literally the people, the specific individuals who brought this up were the ones responsible for Pizzagate. Did you hear about Pizzagate?
No.
Pizzagate was when there was a rumor spread saying that Hillary Clinton was operating a child sex ring out of the basement of a pizza place in DC called like Comet Ping Pong or something like that. This place didn't even have a basement.
Yes.
And the problem is their spreading of that rumor resulted in a man walking into that place with a gun and firing shots trying to find this sex ring. This is a clear result of them making crap up, telling lies, and getting people outraged at Hillary Clinton because they don't like her politically. And so these are the same people spreading rumors, or not spreading rumors. It is a little different in the sense that these are exactly, these are real things. But using trying to discredit or destroy a career and a life in general because of differing viewpoints on, there are plenty of people who make terrible jokes on Twitter.
Right.
But these people aren't there to find people who make terrible jokes. That could be offensive. They're there to ruin careers of people they disagree with personal or politically.
Yeah.
And so I hate that Disney is now like, well, yeah, this must be a thing. Like, I can understand if there's a petition from 100,000 people saying, hey, he made these jokes, we don't want him directing. Yeah. This is a couple of guys saying, no, you can't have him. Don't you have this certain standard? Like, that's my least favorite part of the whole thing.
Well, and I'm certain that Disney did the crap.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Right. I don't envy their position.
They're right. Like, we have to do this. It's our policy or whatever.
I don't envy the position. They also didn't have to.
No, that's true. They
didn't have to. They could have responded.
Okay, so let's build on that.
What are those guys going to do about it?
Let's close out here. Let's build this as we're closing out. Let's talk about how would you have liked to see this handled and how would you like to see it handled from here on out? From this point forward or from the very beginning? I guess, actually, we've already talked about how we'd like to have seen it handled.
A little bit. I would have, not to ignore it, because you can't do that.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to like you just ignoring it, but just like, here's how the people who work with him on a daily basis characterize this man. Mm-hmm. We stand by our creative talent. Like, these are the people we're putting behind. These are views that he made while not working for us. Obviously, those views do not portray the Disney mentality, the Disney sense of values. Disney values. He was not an employee of Disney 10 years ago.
Right.
He was not even anywhere near that. And so there was also another tweet that somebody made, like, why didn't they have somebody go through his history when they were considering hiring him and see if these things came out? It's actually pretty likely they did.
They did, yeah.
That's a thing that companies do, especially massive companies who are kind of banking on the people that work for them. They're not just making a product. They're working with people to make a product.
We're like a church of like 10 employees.
Yes.
And I look through potential interns' Twitters and Facebooks before I hire them. Like,
right, absolutely.
You guarantee you a massive organization
does It's just a part of hiring now. Yeah. That's a thing. So it's very likely. What I would have liked to see is Disney, of course, if they did that, which we have to assume because we don't know, if they did that, say, no, we did that. We found this. But he's a different person now. He signed a contract. Like, there's a morality clause probably in that contract. His co-workers and the people who work for him are all coming out in support for him. So we support him. He apologized for this. He's a different person now.
That would have been great, obviously. Especially if Disney said dude, we know. How much power would be removed from those trolls if Disney stepped up and said, yes, we know.
No, yeah.
Who do you think you are? You think us? You think you're three dudes with your laptops? We're Disney. Like, we know.
Bob Iger comes out and just like, who do you think you are?
How dare you?
How dare you, sir?
Next thing you know, there's all this like rumors about a sex ring in their basement.
Yep.
But like, it'd be really cool for Disney to step up and say something like that. Like, yeah, we know, and it doesn't bother us because we know that he's like, we stand by our creative talent and we support those who support him.
Yes.
So that would have been really cool. From here forward, here's what I would like to see. I would like to see Disney do something similar to that. We have reviewed our morality clauses and our community standards, and we've reviewed things, and we would like to invite James Gunn back onto the, sure. For that to say that, because at that point you keep the precedent of, you're done, you're fired, you're gone. But at that point it's Disney's choice to rehire. They don't always have to rehire anybody. They keep their clause in there, they keep their no tolerance policy, and then later on they review, they change, they appeal or whatever, and then they bring him back on. And to the applause of everybody, it seems like, you know what I mean? So not only does Disney get to keep their community standards, not only do they get to keep their no clause policy, but they also get to please fans and employees. Yeah. Like, how many people are going to leave this if this doesn't happen? How many Chris Pratts or David Bautistas are ever going to leave this with a bitter taste?
Contracts that they've signed, it's a real possibility.
Well, not literally leave. I mean, just leave with a bitter taste in their mouth.
I see.
And maybe in the future be like, I don't know if I want to work for Disney.
Sure.
What do you think? How would you like to see it handled?
What if they brought him back on as a writer? Like, hey, we recognize this, but also he's like, say all those things. We've reviewed our clauses. We understand. We've had a conversation. Like, this is a thing. We've gone through all those steps. Bring him back on in a place of less authority for now. Like that. And then maybe in the future.
Or even make up a title, like a creative assistant to the director.
Well, as a producer. Yeah. That's essentially a made-up title
exactly
for whatever they want it to be. So, yeah, producer. It's just your 30
Rock when they ask Pete, what's a producer do? I don't know. That's it.
Yeah, so bring him on, maybe not in the same position and I think they just would have to ride the line now where it's like, well, they have to appear contrite.
Yeah.
As well as, well, we want to please fans. They're the people that make us money. Like, that's the real problem here, is that it's a money-making machine.
Right.
As well as people, for some reason, maybe not for some reason, I understand, but look to celebrities as they have to be morally righteous at all times.
Yeah, absolutely.
We see companies who employ people who say things on their own, in their own, as in no way associated with that company, as like now Disney is obviously making jokes about rape, and like it's this weird thing. It's like people not eating at Chick-fil-A because the owners of Chick-fil-A are against gay marriage.
Right.
Like legalized gay marriage. And sure, you can boycott for whatever reason you want, but I just don't get the connection there. Like, it's just a person's personal opinions and they work for a certain company.
Right.
And so that's a whole other topic, but like, it's just a hard thing to do because when you're trying to mix business with morality, and that's really not something that happens a whole lot because you're just trying to make some money.
And I think where you and I would both land is the statement, we hate the way that it came out, but we get it.
Yes. Yeah, I can't say Disney is like, what are they doing?
Yeah, no, how dare they?
What? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense.
It does. It absolutely does. They need to protect their brand. And that is understandable.
They might have overcorrected, though.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you very much for listening. Let us know what you think about James Gunn. Let us know what you think about the steps that Disney has taken. How would you think that Disney have handled it? How do you think they should handle it from here on out? Let us know in the comments. Thanks again for listening. You smell nice. And remember, slay the spire. I mean,
no!
Save games, slay the spire.
Dang it.
Bye.
Bye.